England has been warned that homelessness could rise by around 25% by the end of this decade. But before that headline gets repeated everywhere, we need to explain exactly what it means. This is not an official government forecast, and it does not mean that 231,000 people are currently homeless. The warning comes from a new report by IPPR and IPPR North, published on the 13th of July 2026. The calculation behind the headline is based on the number of households owed the homelessness relief duty by councils in England. IPPR looked at the annual figures from 2018 to 19 to 2024 to 25, then extended that trend forward to 2029 to 30. In 2024 to 25, 182,540 households were owed the relief duty. If the previous trend continues, IPPR projects that figure could reach 231,299 households in 2029 to 30. That would be nearly 49,000 additional households, an increase of roughly 27%, publicly described as around 25%. So the key words are could, projected, and if current trends continue. This is a think tank projection, not a prediction carved in stone. But it is a serious warning, because the existing figures already show enormous pressure. At the end of December 2025, 134,210 households were living in temporary accommodation in England. That was 5% higher than 1 year earlier, although it had fallen very slightly from the previous quarter. Those households included more than 176,000 dependent children. The rough sleeping picture is more complicated. In March 2026, an estimated 7,541 people slept rough at some point during the month. That was 2% lower than the previous year. But long-term rough sleeping increased by 9%, and the number estimated to be sleeping rough on a single night increased by 1%. So it would be wrong to claim that every homelessness measure is rising at exactly the same rate. Some measures have improved slightly, but temporary accommodation remains at historically high levels, while the most entrenched forms of rough sleeping continue to cause serious concern. IPPR argues that England needs to stop simply managing homelessness and start moving people into settled homes more quickly. It calls this a housing-led approach. Housing-led means moving someone into their own settled home as quickly as possible, with support provided where appropriate. It aims to reduce long periods spent moving between hostels, bed and breakfast accommodation, and other temporary placements. Housing-led does not mean exactly the same thing as housing first. Housing first is a particular form of housing-led support, usually designed for people with high or complex needs. It provides permanent housing alongside intensive flexible support. Housing first, therefore, sits within the wider housing-led approach. The two terms should not be used as though they are interchangeable. The report says the greatest obstacle is the shortage of social housing. Its recommendations include bringing long-term empty homes back into use, increasing social housing supply, strengthening cooperation between housing associations and councils, and developing a national programme informed by Greater Manchester's A Bed Every Night scheme. None of that provides an instant solution. Bringing empty properties back into use takes investment. Providing support takes staff and long-term funding. And moving people into settled housing is impossible if affordable homes do not exist. But the principle is straightforward. Homelessness should not be managed as an endless journey through emergency accommodation. A temporary room may prevent someone from sleeping outside tonight. It does not necessarily give them the stability, safety, or permanent home they need to rebuild their life. The 25% figure is not inevitable. It is a warning about what could happen if the existing trend continues. The real question is whether the government treats that warning as a reason to act now, or waits until another 49,000 households are asking councils for help. This is Housing Crisis Guide UK. Know the facts. Know what the headline really means. And never confuse managing homelessness with ending it.